Cool guys, now I'm going to go over the infotainment for you. So, starting off with the information. So in the information menu, just gives you some general information about the car. So you have your fuel efficiency monitor. This will give you a little bit more of a graphical view of everything that's going on with your vehicle in terms of the fuel economy. You can always reset this as well. You can also go down into the energy flow monitor, and what that will do is let you know about the cylinder deactivation when it will drop down to 2 cylinders when you're at a cruising speed. Going back, you do also have your SiriusXM travel link. That comes complimentary with the vehicle for as long as your warranty does, a full 5 years. What that will give you is small traffic information as well as weather forecasts, fuel prices in whatever area you are, the sports scores for the local news, again, any kind of weather alerts that you should know about, as well as parking information, where there is available parking in certain areas, that kind of information. So especially when you're on a road trip, a really nice function to have. You can also go to your vehicle status monitor through here. In your vehicle status monitor, it will let you know when your next service is due, as well as what details, it will let you know when your next oil change is. It shows you your tire pressure in there as well. But you can also set your own intervals as well. So should you want to do something at 7,000 kilometers, you can actually adjust that yourself. You can also, if you notice for whatever reason the oil change distance is sooner than it needs to be, you can reset it entirely if you would like to. And finally, you do have access to a digital copy of your owner's manual through the infotainment system. So if you ever have any information that you need to grab on the vehicle, you do have access to it. However, you do still get a paper copy of your owner's manual in the glove box. And moving down, all the way down to the settings. In the settings, you can obviously adjust a lot of the things to really personalize exactly how you want the vehicle to function. So everything from your in-vehicle displays, your active driving display, which is the heads-up display, you can adjust the height and the brightness of it. You can tilt it. You can also decide what all content actually shows up in it. Some of the safety functions you don't necessarily want to appear, as well as things like your navigation information. It does also have traffic sign recognition, so as you drive past a speed limit sign, it will actually let you know in the active driving display. Down below that is your center display. So the center display, obviously it's an automatic day and night mode from factory, so it will adjust depending on what the ambient light is outside, but you can adjust the brightness and contrast for yourself. The drive results shows you what your fuel economy was while you were driving. When you turn off the vehicle, it will automatically display it on the display. You can also change how the clock shows up if you want it to be digital or analog, as well as when you turn off the screen entirely, what you want the display to look like. Is it going to have a clock on it? That kind of information. And finally, down below, you have your instrument cluster display. There's 2 different types for it. One of them shows you the actual gauges itself. The other one just shows you the raw data of the actual display itself. Down a little bit below that into the sound settings. Now in sound settings, this is where you can play around with all of your bass and treble, your listening position, so if you want it to be focused on all seats or if you just like it to be in the driver's seats, the fader and the balance for yourself, the both stereo mode. So in the stereo mode, you can actually change it so it has more of a linear sound throughout the center of the vehicle, as well as your Bose center point, so it will actually find where the exact center point of the vehicle is based on the constructive and destructive interference of the sound waves and really kind of focus in, as well as the audio pilot, which will actually adjust based on road noise what the actual volume of your stereo is. So when you start driving faster, there's more road noise, it will automatically turn this sound system up. Also, in any of the systems that don't have the Bose audio system, there is a completely adjustable equalizer as well, where you can adjust all of these similar settings using the factory speaker system. Also in the sound settings, you do have access to be able to change the interior volumes of, your regular beeps, your various notifications, that kind of information as well. Now moving on to the safety settings. In the safety settings, you do have access to a bunch of different things with the on-suite of the Mazda iActive Sense system. So in the driver assistance system, you will be able to actually turn off things like your radar cruise control, as well as the attention alert. So if it notices that you're actually going off the road, it will alert you to let you know maybe it's time to pull over and take a bit of a break. You do also have your safety alerts, so things like your rear cross traffic alert, your lane departure warning. It also allows you to change what type it is, so it will actually vibrate the steering wheel to let you know if you're ever going over the lane. You can turn off and adjust your blind spot monitoring to just being visual, audible, or off entirely, as well as the timing, how sensitive it is to the things that are sitting in that blind spot for you. Down below to the active safety. So what this does is the lane keep assist system, where it'll actually adjust the steering wheel to maintain those lines. You can turn off that system entirely. Down below that is your collision avoidance, so that forward collision mitigation system, right? When does the brake support kick in? How sensitive is it to everything? And also you do have a rear brake support as well with the Mazda CX-30, so you can also adjust whether or not that turns on as well. Your view monitor will actually take care of anything involving your backup camera. So things like the dynamic guidelines that will show you exactly what your path is into whatever spot that you're parking into. And your parking sensors, which of course you can turn on and off, or you can adjust the volume of them accordingly. Finally, there's the pedal misuse alert, so if you accidentally press on the brake and the gas pedal at the same time, it will let you know that you have done that. You can turn off that function if you so choose. And down below, the safety settings is now your vehicle settings. Now in the vehicle settings, there's a lot of stuff. From factory, it generally covers everything that you need to do, and you won't really need to adjust them a whole lot. But if you ever find certain things like your walk-away locks, how long after you leave the vehicle do the doors automatically lock themselves? Exterior lighting, so you can have walk-away lights on, so your daytime running lights will stay on for a short period of time after you exit the vehicle. Interior lighting, how long after you get into the vehicle will the light stay on interior wise? You can turn off the rain sensing windshield wipers. Your turn signals have the 3 touch. You can adjust whether or not that actually operates, or you can turn down the volume of them. Your rear window defogger, you can adjust it so it always stays on as long as you turn it on. From factory, it will automatically shut it off for you. You can link your heated seat system with the climate controls, so when you turn up your climate up to 28 degrees, it will automatically turn on your heated seat for you as well. As well, with the fuel door being connected to the lock system, you can adjust how long after you lock the vehicle does the gas cap also lock. Finally, coming down to the connective settings, the connectivity settings are things like your Bluetooth. So if you ever want to connect a new phone, you can absolutely do that using this screen, as well as small things like your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto settings. And last but not least, at the very bottom, you have your system settings. In here, you can adjust everything from your clock, which has your GPS synchronization. When you click on the GPS sync, it will automatically find exactly where you are and adjust to that. You do also have the 24-hour clock. Your daylight savings time, you do actually need to adjust regardless of the GPS sync. So if you ever need to adjust that, if you're in an area that has daylight savings time, and of course to adjust what time zone that you're on. Finally, down below that, your voice recognition settings. If you use the voice recognition system very often, you can adjust all of those. The vehicle is trilingual. You can adjust things to French and Spanish as well. And then coming down here, you do have your temperature settings where you can adjust it to Fahrenheit, especially if you are driving this vehicle down in the States often, as well as your distance and speed. You can switch to miles and miles per hour. And an interesting thing about this system is it does also adjust your speedometer as well. So again, if you do make regular trips out to the States, you can adjust from your kilometers to miles per hour, and you don't have to play the big guessing game based on a second internal odometer or speedometer, pardon me. Down below that is your pressure settings. If you prefer PSI, you can adjust them. Again, I believe it's generally pretty standard that that's what we use now, but you can adjust it to bars or kilopascals, whatever works. Down below that, the Grace Note database album art system. If you do download music onto your phone, it will be able to pull up some of that album art, so it does actually come up onto the screen depending on how the file is downloaded. And finally, down below that is just your generic system information, which will let you know, again, all of the information about exactly what model of program that this Mazda CX-30 is currently running. And from here, you can also restore everything to its factory settings. So if you end up adjusting something that you don't know how to fix, simply press the Restore All Factory Settings. It will restore everything for you.